So here we are in programming in Python CST 360 and module 1. So our syllabus goes on like this. Getting started with Python programming. It includes interactive shell, IDLE, IPython notebooks, detecting and correcting syntax errors, how Python works, the software development processes, a case study, basic coding skills, strings, assignment and comments, numeric data types and character sets, expressions using and build functions and modules, control statements, iteration with for while loop, formatting text for output, a case study, selection structure, if else switch case, conditional iteration with while, a case study, testing control statements, lazy evaluation. So here we have a lot of case study to go on through. Now getting started with Python programming. Python is a high-level, general-purpose programming language for solving problems on modern computer systems. Python is a high-level, general-purpose programming language for solving problems on modern computer systems. The language and many supporting tools are free, and Python programs can run on any operating system. It has fewer syntactical constructions than other languages. Python is an interpreted language, not a compiled language. Python is an interpreted language. That means that unlike applications written such as in languages such as C, COBOL or Assembler, code written in Python has to run through a process of interpretation by the computer. Python relies on indentation using white space to define scope such as the scope of loops, functions and classes. Other programming languages often use curly brackets for this purposes. So regarding Python's basic, so here Python programming basic things are discussed. Okay, so Python, first of all, Python is a it's a high level language and it is a general purpose language. It is used for solving problems on modern computer systems. So Python is very easy and simple to use. And for that reason, most of the students are right now using, and even in the companies, they are using Python to do their projects and works. So this Python language has many supporting tools, and the interesting fact is that they are for free. And Python programs can run on any operating system, let it be Linux, let it be Windows, Mac, anything. We can work with Python on any operating system. It has fewer syntactical constructions than other languages. While most of the other languages have very complex syntax that is very hard for the users to remember, to memorize and as well as to use it, Python syntax is much more easier because their syntactical constructions are less compared to the other languages. Python is an interpreted language, not a compiled language. So what are compiled language? C, COBOL, Assembler, they are compiled language, but Python is an interpreted language. So what is interpreted language? Line by line execution is done. So Python is an interpreted language and not a compiled language. That means that unlike applications written in languages such as C, COBOL or Assembler, code written in Python has to run through a process of interpretation by the computer. Now, Python relies on indentation while using white spaces to define scope such as the scope of loops, functions, classes. Other programming languages often use curly brackets for this purpose. So indentation in C, we are using a for loop, right? For, we give the condition and then we use the curly brackets. Even if it is if statement, we use the curly brackets, but in Python we don't have to use the curly brackets because we put indentation. So again, what is the indentation? We write a sentence, we put two colons, a condition or a loop, anything, we put two colons and on the next line we leave some space. So when we write on Python, this white space always matters. So if we write right from the beginning, that is from the leftmost side, we have to start from the margin. If we leave a space from the margin, then that is considered to be an indentation, and if this space was not meant to be in that position, then that will possibly take into an error. So Python relies on indentation using white spaces to identify scope such as the scope of loops, functions and classes. Other programming languages often use curly brackets for this purposes. Next comes the features and applications. Features. What are the features of Python? It is easy to learn, easy to read, easy to maintain, portable databases, extendable, scalable, so many features, right? Now it is easy to learn. That is, as I told you before, it has few keywords, simple structure, and clearly defined syntax. Now easy to read means it is clearly defined. Easy to maintain, it's very easy to maintain. Portable, it can run, as I told you, it can be run on wide variety of platforms. So it can be run on wide variety of hardware platforms and has the same interface on all the platforms. Next comes databases. It provides interfaces to all major commercial databases. Extendable, adding or low-level modules to Python is possible. Now scalable, it provides a better structure and support for larger programs. It supports functional and structured programming. So it's basically concentrated on functional and structured programming. It can be used as scripting language and can be compiled to bytecode to form larger applications. It supports automatic garbage collection and it can be easily integrated with other programming languages like C, C++, Java. Next, downloading and installing of Python. We can download Python from www.python.org, and Python does not come pre-installed on Windows system, so we have to go to the site given over here and then we have to install it for Windows, and similarly it goes for Mac or OS. Now, running code in the interactive shell. So as I told you before, Python is an interpreted language and you can run simple Python expressions and statements in an interactive programming environment, which we call it as a shell. So Python is an interpreted language and we can run the simple Python expression. Simple, small programs that we can run in an interactive programming environment, which is called the shell. Now the easiest way to open up Python shell is to launch the IDLE. What is IDLE? Integrated Development and Learning Environment. Integrated Development and Learning Environment. The easiest way to open up Python shell is to launch the IDLE, Integrated Development and Learning Environment. This is an integrated program development environment that comes with a Python installation. So where, right, when we install the Python itself, we get this Python shell, which we call it as IDLE, Integrated Development and Learning Environment. So when you do this, a window named Python shell opens. So now how does a Python shell looks like? This is how a Python shell looks like. So we have the 3 greater than symbol, which is the shell prompt. Now, a shell window contains an opening message followed by the special symbol. 3 greater than symbols are there, and that's what we call as a shell prompt. The cursor at the shell prompt waits for you to enter the Python command. So over here, in this, the cursor will wait over here for the user to enter the command. Okay. So the cursor at the shell prompt waits for you to enter a Python command. When you enter an expression or statement, Python evaluates it and displays its result if there is one followed by a new prompt. So now if there is an expression or statement, Python will evaluate it and it will display the result in the line, and once the result is displayed, it will come down. That is, a new shell prompt will be there in the next line. So to quit the Python shell, you can either select Windows close box or the Ctrl+D combination. So we can either close it normally or we can use the Ctrl+D combination. Next one is input processing and output. So most useful programs accept inputs from source, process these input, and then finally output results to some destination. So this is the basic thing that we know since we are learning computer, right? An input will be given, the input will be processed, and we get the output. So the useful program accepts the input from the source, process these inputs, and then finally output results to some destination. So here in terminal based interactive program, what is the input source? It is a keyboard. Keyboard is the input source, and the output destination is the terminal display. The terminal display is the output destination. also force the output of a value by using the print function. So next question, how do we print whatever we want to see? So that is using the print function. And the basic syntax, we can call it as a syntax or a grammatical rule for using the print function. So that print function syntax is, we write print, P-R-I-N-T, and inside the parenthesis we will have the expression. So this expression can be string or any other thing. So we can do the expression, we can even use things to evaluate it. So we use a print expression, print, and in the inside the parenthesis we give the expression. Now when running the print function, Python first evaluates the expression and then displays its value. When running the print function, Python first evaluates the expression and then displays its value. Okay, now we have certain rules for it. So print was used to display some text. So why do we use print? It is to display some text. And in Python code, a string is always enclosed in quotation marks. However, the print function displays a string without quotation marks. So when we want to print something, we want to get a string, what we do is we write this print function print, P-R-I-N-T, and inside the parenthesis we put two quotation marks, that is double quotes, and inside the double quote we will give the sentence hey there or hello world. We will give the string, and there when the output is displayed, the quotation marks will not be found, just the string, that is hey there or hello world, only that thing will come. The quotation marks will not be displayed. Okay. So here, look over here, the example print hi there is given. So in the output only hi there, only this much portion will be there, the quotation marks will not be there. Next, you can also write a print function that includes two or more expressions separated by commas. In such a case, the print function evaluates the expression and displays their result separated by single spaces on one line. So now how do we do this? We are having two expressions this time. Okay, we're having two expressions. One is a integer, or one is something that we have to evaluate, and one is a string in this case. So look over here, we have print, we are using the print function. Inside the parenthesis we are giving two integers to evaluate, and it is separated by a comma. It is separated by a comma, and then we have the string hello. So how will the output be? It will be 4 hello. It will be like that because 2 plus 2 is evaluated. Now print function always ends its output with a new line. So even in any case, it goes over there, and when it have to get the next input, it goes to the next line. So now if we wanted to continue in the same line, what do? We want to continue the line, the word in the same line. So to begin the next output on the same line as the previous one, you can place the expression end equal to quotation mark, which says end the line with an empty string instead of a new line. So that is where we use this syntax, that is print, then we are giving inside the parenthesis we are giving the expression, then again we separate it by comma, and end equal to empty string, just double quotes, quotation marks, we are not giving anything inside it. So print expression end equal to double quotes. Okay, so what does that, this end equal to double quotes, empty string, what does it mean? So end the line with an empty string. We don't have to go to the new line, but just end the line with an empty string. Okay, next comes input function. So as you create programs in Python, you will often want your programs to ask a user for input. You can do this by using the input function. So we might need a lot of input. The user might, so if we want to calculate the area of a circle, yeah, then we need to ask the radius from the user. So in such cases, how will we read it? How will we ask the user to input? So you can do this by using the input function. So this function causes the program to stop and wait for the user to enter a value from the keyboard. Now when the user presses the return or enter key, the function accepts the input value and makes it available to the program. So the form of an assignment statement with the input function, how does it look? The variable identifier. So what is a variable identifier? A variable identifier in short is what we call as variable. So this variable, it can be x, y, z, a name, a number, name in the sense NAME, name, a number. We have rules for defining a variable. To name a variable, we do have names. So in that, it can be a number. It can't start with a number. There are certain rules. So we can write num. So there can be different variable names. So that is what we call as a variable identifier. It's a name. It can be anything. So now a variable identifier, we write the assignment operator equal to. So that is whatever thing we are supposed to get, whatever we are inputting from the user, we are storing it inside the variable identifier. Okay, whatever input we are getting from the user, we are storing it in the variable identifier. So variable identifier equal to, that is why the assignment operator. What is assignment operator? So LHS equal to here, that is equal to is an assignment operator. RHS, then the value RHS is stored inside LHS. That is what equal to assignment operator means. Now here, equal to input. So input means we are asking the user to input it, a string prompt. Here, for example, we want to find the area of the circle, then end of the radius of the circle is a string prompt, and I'm writing 5, then 5 was taken as an input, and this is stored. For example, in this case, if the variable identifier, if I'm taking it as an example, I'm taking it as radius r. I'm taking it as radius r is equal to input inside the parenthesis, inside the quotation marks, what will get? End of the radius of the circle. So the cursor will blink over there. Once the line is executed, the cursor will blink over there for the user to input the number, input the radius. And when the user input the radius as 5, this value is stored in the variable r, later which it can be taken for further calculations. Now a variable identifier, or variable for short, is just a name for a value. When a variable receives its value in an input statement, the variable then refers to this value. Type conversion we will do in the next video.